Right, let's dive right in. Today, we're unpacking a massive shift in corporate strategy. We're going to explore how companies can completely transform their procurement operations, taking them from a reactive, sort of tactical cost center and turning them into a highly strategic engine of business value. We usually picture global supply chains as these fragile, rigid networks, just waiting to snap when things get tough. But what if we could actually design them to be resilient, optimized systems? Over the next few minutes in this explainer, we're going to trace that exact transformation, basically mapping out a clear journey from structural vulnerability all the way to structural advantage. But to get there, it requires a fundamental shift in mindset. Think about this. What if suppliers aren't just vendors, but critical partners who actually shape your business performance? That's where our journey really has to begin. We have to challenge this dangerous baseline assumption that suppliers are merely external entities we just, buy things from. If we believe that cost, innovation, risk, and growth are strictly internal decisions, we are totally missing the bigger picture. These are actually outcomes deeply influenced by external markets. So when we start viewing suppliers as core business drivers rather than just transactional vendors, we instantly open the door to a completely different level of enterprise performance. But let's look at the ordinary world most organizations are stuck in right now. We call it the hidden supply gap. In so many companies, millions, and sometimes literally billions, are spent every single year on suppliers. These external partners are out there shaping your product cost, your quality, your delivery speed, and ultimately your customer experience. And yet, despite all of this, the people managing this massive ecosystem are way too often treated like tactical buyers. Think about the imbalance here, right? A company would never operate without someone highly strategic managing customers and revenue on the sales side. So why do so many organizations leave their critical supply ecosystems in the hands of purely tactical executioners? It quietly but surely erodes competitiveness. So fixing this requires what we call a blue logic shift. It's about building strong, structured connections. You see, a true procurement category manager is not an operational buyer. They sit squarely in the middle, acting as the strategic interface. On one side, you've got your internal business needs, what engineering wants, what finance absolutely needs to see. On the other side, you have external market realities, what suppliers can actually pull off, where commodity prices are shifting. The modern category manager is that essential translation layer connecting those two worlds, turning raw, chaotic market data into a clear, actionable internal business strategy. To guide us through exactly how to do this, we rely on a mentor framework called SupplyAxis. SupplyAxis really steps in to elevate procurement way beyond mere negotiation and simple cost reduction. It treats category management as an interconnected system. It's not about isolated, one-off events or contracts. It's about building a continuous loop of intelligence, strategy, and execution that fundamentally redefines how an organization interacts with the outside world. Now, the SupplyAxis framework identifies 3 specific engines of value. These are basically the levers a strategic category manager uses to pull the organization forward and create true sustainable business value. We're talking about negotiation, resourcing, and value analysis and value engineering, or VA/V. Together, they form the toolkit that shifts a company completely away from the dangerous trap of simply chasing short-term price reductions. Let's look at that first engine. The absolute crucial point here is that negotiation is not about aggressive pressure for discounts. True negotiation intelligence requires a deep understanding of supplier economics, market dynamics, capacity constraints, inflation drivers, and competitive benchmarks. If you're only measuring procurement by cost savings, you are ignoring massive risks. Aggressive short-term savings almost always create quality failures or hidden cost inflation later down the line. A strong category manager understands the entire system behind the cost. The goal isn't just a lower price on a spreadsheet today, The goal is sustainable competitiveness over the long haul. Okay, let's move to the second engine and see how this builds. Competition is not disruption. Competition is design. This is the real transformation of the resourcing phase. Resourcing means actively challenging the supplier status quo. It means deliberately introducing new geographies, exploring brand new technologies, or testing alternative materials. And you do this to create strategic competitive tension. Markets evolve rapidly, right? So when a strategic category manager injects well-designed competition into the system, the overall value of the entire supply ecosystem actually increases. You are literally architecting advantage. And now for the third engine, value analysis and value engineering. This is where procurement becomes deeply, deeply embedded in the strategic DNA of the company.
It's about asking fundamental questions. Does this specific feature actually create customer value? Can we redesign this component for simplicity? Here, the category manager works directly with engineering, R&D, and manufacturing. This is that magic moment where suppliers officially shift from being seen as mere cost centers to becoming vital innovation partners. They're brought to the table early to help optimize materials and innovate better solutions right from the start. Let's ground all this theory in reality for a second, using the injected plastics category. It's never just a simple matter of buying plastic. The ecosystem changes drastically depending on the industry. A category manager handling plastics for automotive faces totally different regulatory pressures, quality requirements, and cost structures than someone in medical or consumer electronics. They have to understand global resin price volatility, tooling investment cycles, capacity bottlenecks, and then seamlessly translate all of that immense complexity into a tailored business strategy for their specific industry. It's like a giant puzzle.
But there is a massive hurdle here, which we call influence without authority. A category manager rarely has direct authority over engineering designs or executive investment mandates. They have to influence, and you just can't influence if you're speaking the wrong language. I mean, procurement really needs to stop speaking procurement language. Actually, scratch that. They have to learn to speak business language. Instead of saying the technical phrase, "we should dual source," which honestly might just sound like extra work to an executive, you translate it into business impact. This protects revenue continuity. Boom. Business leaders don't respond to procurement logic. They respond to business impact, risk reduction, and margin protection. Now, if an organization fails to make this strategic shift, they fall straight into the reactive ordeal. This is the crisis that strikes reactive organizations. We're talking red alert across the board. They are constantly battling supply shortages, freight disruptions, sudden inflation spikes, and capacity shocks. They are completely at the mercy of global volatility. In this reactive state, value is destroyed instantly because there was a total lack of foresight. The business is constantly scrambling to put out fires, rather than just building a fireproof structure in the first place. Which brings us to a really hard-hitting truth from the supply access framework. Companies do not lack suppliers. They lack foresight. Think about it. It is incredibly rare that a part absolutely cannot be made by anyone else in the world. The issue is that managing the modern supply chain isn't about having a thick Rolodex of contacts to call when things go wrong. It's about proactive systemic architecture. It's about seeing the market shifts, the capacity constraints, and the geopolitical risks way before they ever impact your assembly line. And that leads us out the other side to the ultimate reward of this journey: proactive design versus the reactive scramble. High-performing category managers have alternative suppliers ready before disruption happens. They have cost models built before inflation hits. They have design improvements active before production issues even arise. They do not react to the future, they design for it. This is what a mature, governed, and stabilized global supply ecosystem actually looks like in practice. It's a system running smoothly in the green. So what is the ultimate elixir here? What's the real value of adopting this framework? Well, it is nothing short of enterprise-wide business transformation. When category management is elevated to its proper strategic role, it protects your margins, it enables massive innovation by tapping into supplier expertise, it strengthens the resilience of your entire operational model, and it dramatically improves working capital. It proves, once and for all, that procurement is not some back-office execution function, it is absolutely a frontline competitive weapon. Because, look, in today's highly complex global market, advantage does not come from owning everything. It comes from orchestrating everything. You can't own every factory, every raw material, or every piece of IP. Weak procurement only sees cost. Strong procurement sees value. But elite category management, it sees the entire interconnected system. So I'm going to leave you with this question to ponder. Are you just managing your suppliers, or are you orchestrating an ecosystem that's going to shape the entire future of your business?